1959, 9 experienced hikers entered the Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union. None of them would return alive. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a young engineering student and experienced outdoorsman. Their goal was to reach Ototen, a remote mountain deep in the northern Urals. It was a difficult journey, but the hikers were well prepared for the harsh winter conditions. Before leaving, they kept journals and took photographs, documenting their expedition through deep snow and freezing winds. At first, everything seemed normal. The group laughed, posed for pictures, and pushed forward through the endless white wilderness. But during the night of February 1st, something went terribly wrong. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, search teams were sent into the mountains. What they discovered was deeply unsettling. The group's tent had been found on the slope of a mountain called Kholat Syakal. In the local language, the name means dead mountain. The tent was partially buried under snow, but investigators quickly noticed something strange. The fabric had been cut open from the inside. Something had frightened the hikers so badly that they slashed their way out and ran into the freezing darkness. Footprints in the snow showed several of them fled barefoot. Temperatures that night dropped to nearly -30 degrees Celsius. The first 2 bodies were discovered beneath a large cedar tree, nearly a mile from the campsite. They were wearing only their underwear. Their hands were badly burned, suggesting they tried to warm themselves near a small fire. Broken branches high in the tree suggested one of them had climbed it, perhaps trying to see back toward the tent. More bodies were later found between the tree and the campsite. It appeared some hikers had tried to return to their shelter, but froze to death along the way. Months later, the final 4 victims were discovered in a nearby ravine after the snow began to melt. The injuries of the final group shocked investigators. One victim had a crushed skull. Another had massive chest fractures compared to the force of a car crash. One woman was missing her tongue. Yet strangely, many of these severe injuries showed almost no visible external wounds. It was as if an invisible force had caused the damage. Then investigators discovered something even more mysterious. Some clothing from the hikers tested positive for radiation. There was no sign of another group attacking them, and no clear explanation for why they fled their tent in the middle of the night. Over the years, many theories have tried to explain the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Some believed the hikers were caught in a secret Soviet military weapons test. Others suggested a rare avalanche forced them to flee their shelter in panic. Another theory involves infrasound, a strange natural phenomenon that may trigger fear and confusion. In 2020, Russian investigators concluded that a snow slab avalanche was the most likely cause. But for many people, the explanation still feels incomplete. More than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass mystery continues to haunt investigators around the world.